Hello and welcome, gang. It's Deltia from DeltiasGaming.com. In today's video, we're going to go over racial benefits, passives, and what you can do with each race to optimize your character. Now, we haven't touched on race in a while, so this is going to be the updated guide for ESO 2.2 and beyond. I've played every race, some good, some bad, and here's what I'm going to say about it to give you guys an inside track on picking the right race. Breton, a very powerful magic race that is adapt and what I think is suitable very well for healing. So if you go to skills here, race, Breton, it has reduced spell cost. Now this is actually pretty handy, though I do like the high elf's regeneration better in the current ESO 2.2. Spell resistance, this is very handy at endgame as well, especially if you want to be a vampire. It turns out that this spell resistance paired with the champion tree can actually provide more resistance against fire damage than a Dunmer. So Breton has some good advantages there. And then also max magic. You can only get 10% max magic. Only the Breton and the high elf has this, making it really good for damage. But the Breton lacks the elemental damage that the high elf does, and no significance to healing or anything else. And reduced cost is only 3%, where the high elf has monster regeneration, making it probably the second best magic class, ideal for Templar healing, but I would go with a high elf for pure damage or a Dunmer specifically on a Dragon Knight. Though you get the human look with the Breton, so it's pretty cool. Another thing you can pair well with here is the reduced cost of magic in this, and then also the champion tree. So it pairs very well with the magician, giving you about what is that, 19% math of reduced cost, making your spells very insignificant. So that's what I would do with the Breton. Next race up, and possibly the best dance we have in the Daggerfall Covenant, is the Orc. Orc is a very interesting race that has recently gone through some major upgrades in the racial passive department. So if we look at skills, the Orc has one of the most unique and interesting passives you can center a build around. Swift Warrior. Reduces sprint cost by 12%, but increases sprint speed by 10%. And also increases your damage with melee attacks by 4%. Melee weapons. That is humongous. Now the robust passive is still not that valuable in my opinion, but Brawny. Max health, max stamina by 6%. You can't beat this if you want a unique, interesting way to play a stam build. I like this on a Dragon Knight, something that lacks speed inherently. Now, if you want to center your build around something unique and different like the Swift Warrior, you can do a lot of cool stuff. So, for instance, you can wear Divine's gear, which will enhance the Mundus Stone effect. You can use the Steed Mundus to increase your movement speed, and further go into the crazy Windrunner. Increase movement speed by 2%. If you do this, you will have a monster fast movement speed ability on the battlefield, whether it's PvE, PvP, and definitely hit like a truck. Orc, gone through a major upgrade, and it's very valuable for stam and unique. Next up, we have definitely the worst dancing Redguard race, but probably the best stamina race overall if you're wanting to play with weapons, bows, daggers, swords, and so on. Let me show you why. In the racial passives here in the Redguard, you have everything you need to be successful. You have regeneration with stamina recovery, increased max stamina to make you hit harder, and the unique passive of restoring stamina when you do damage with a melee attack. It can only hit once every 3 seconds, but I'm telling you right now, this is what separates the resource regeneration freak show Redguards over anything else. I chose a Redguard on my Stamina Sork, and the reason why is the Stamina Sork doesn't have a whole lot of regeneration on its own specifically for stamina. And doing these extra melee attacks in between a Wrecking Blow or a Steel Tornado really keeps me in the fight. Another good combination is a Stam Templar. Why? Because you're going to use Biting Jabs as your main damage ability, and you're going to do a little bit light attack or heavy attack in between, which is going to restore your stamina. So if you're looking to pair something with a heavy stamina, you know you're going to go stamina, you know you want to play with weapons and kill people, Redguard in the Daggerfall Covenant is Moving over to the Aldemary Dominion faction, and we have the ultra powerful and ultra tall High Elf. I don't know what kind of dance this is, but High Elf makes, my opinion, the ideal magic class in the game due to its racial passives. You got Spell Charge, Magic Recovery by 9%. 9% adds up tremendously, and I think it's way better than the reduced cost after playing both races, specifically both races on a High Elf Sorc. And if you want to play Sorc Magic, trust me, go High Elf. Even go High Elf on a Templar, on a Nightblade, and even sometimes a Dragon Knight, though I still prefer Dumber specifically for Dragon Knights. You got increased max magic, so you're going to hit it harder, and underrated but very powerful Elemental's Hammer. Frost, Fire, and Shock. As a magic sorcerer using lightning primarily, you also use a lot of fire as well, especially if you're going to use the ultimate Shooting Star. It's flame damage, so this 4%, believe me, adds up a lot of damage over time. And the recovery is fantastic. So if you're looking for a specific magic build, I definitely recommend High Elf Sorcerer. I've played them all, and this thing is the juggernaut for magic builds. First of two stamina powerhouses is the Bosmer, also known as the Wood Elf. Now, I prefer to do the other race in the Aldemary Dominion faction, but you can do some interesting things with Bosmer, centered around ridiculously high regeneration, 21% in fact, making it probably the best in terms of resource management. However, it comes with a cost. You only get 3% max damage and some resistance to poison and disease, which is not that effective. But the extra max stamina is not enough to make up for a huge damage margin that other classes get. You also have the stealthy bonus, which decreases your detection and increases damage out of stealth. So what do Bosmers go well with? Well, frankly, if you want a very, very stamina intense class that does not run out of resource, Bosmer is for you. But it does not have the damage specifically that other classes do, like an Imperial, a 10%, or a Redguard. But you can make some cool, interesting builds centered around drinks, regeneration, Munda Stone, and have dodge roll and CC break for days. So the stealth bonus, you also get this from another race in the Aldemary Dominion faction, which I think is superior. And that's the Khajiit. Welcome to my favorite race in the game, and that is Khajiit. It has one of the coolest, most interesting passives in the game, even though it's not working right now, and that's Weapon Critical. So why Khajiits are successful now? They used to be kind of a mix, but now they really have some good passives. Robust Constitution got changed from 30% health recovery to 20 and 10. So now you get stamina recovery along with it. 10%. That's not quite the Bosman level, but it's very good. You also get that awesome stealthy passive, especially if you want to play a rogue or a stealthy character in PvP. And lastly, weapon critical by 8%. Now, this doesn't look like a lot, but this is incredible. This is the only thing to get this. And especially against other NPCs or players, 8% is a lot, making it one of the best weapon-based classes in the game. Not only that, it looks amazing. Now I pair this with a Nightblade, and my favorite combat style is a Khajiit or a Khajiit Nightblade. You have awesome regeneration, very high crit due to your passives here, Hemorrhage, Pressure Point, and it's just so much fun. If you haven't played a Khajiit Nightblade, definitely do. And also you got the good, awesome recovery refreshing shadows. So right there, that's 25% recovery and a whole lot more crit. It is literally possible to get 100% on a Khajiit Nightblade, making it a go-to for stam builds. I love my little kitty. Next up, we have the middle of the road Argonian race, and probably the coolest looking and unique appearance-wise. Except my kitty's still pretty cool. Okay, so what makes the Argonians special? Well, they have some weird and interesting passes, but nothing super fantastic. You get faster swim speed, woot, not very useful. But you do get max health, magic, and stamina back 8% when you use a potion. This passive changed over time. It used to be extremely powerful, not so much now. Though if you want to use tripods in PvP, it's some benefit. You also have max health by 6%, poison and disease resistance. Max health is very, very nice, but you have no benefit to stamina or magic, limiting your damage in comparison to other classes. Also, increases effective healing on you. This is very important. This is not to other players. A lot of people rolled Argonians thinking this was to other players. No, it's to you. How to make a cool Argonian. I think the recipe is already out there. Making a sap magic-based Nightblade self-healing. And you're surrendered on using potions on cooldown. That's a cool way to make an Argonian that would be very, very useful. But if you're looking for something for ultra pure min-max performance, Argonian is not it. But look at this. This lady is bad. They do look cool. Back with Ebonheart Pack, fire-breathing monster, the Dummer, one of my favorite races, and also I think one of the most undervalued races in the game. So if we go to Dummer, let's look at the passives. Now, Dark Elf is what Dummer stands for. Increase match magic and max stamina by 6%, dynamic. This makes it the most flexible race in my humble opinion. Why? Because you have magic and stamina. It's not going to be the best at magic, but it could be a very good stamina. And I like my Dummer Templar and my Dummer Dragon Knight because I can play both magic and or stamina and not have a penalty, a huge penalty where I have no benefit to each. Also, flame resistance is really, really important. 2,000, that's very helpful. Spell resistance might be a little bit better than this, but you're taking tons of flame damage anyway, so every little bit can help. Stack that with Elemental Defender, and you have a deadly combination. Now, you also get increased max magic of 3%, making it a total of 9%. It does not equal the total of the Breton or High Elf, but it's very, very good. Flame Talent increases damage by 7%, which is what the Dragon Knight excels at. I'm telling you, there's one way to play a Dragon Knight, and that's a Dummer. But think about Dummer on other classes. Are you not sure of going magic or stamina? Pick a Dummer. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. A Dummer or an Imperial. The good thing about Dummer is you don't have to pay for anything extra. You can pick it, roll, rip and grip, lock and block. And I'm telling you right now, it is one of my favorite races and one that's undervalued. We have the Nords, an ideal tanking race, but not really good at anything else. As a Skyrim fanboy like myself, I rolled this very first and was very disappointed and had to actually recreate a character because of lack of resources. That's really where the Nord sucks. No offense to you Nords out there. Believe me, I was one first. Increases health recovery by 3%. That's pretty good. Cold resistance, not a whole lot of it. Max health by 9%, pretty good, but guess what? Imperial has more. Rugged. Now, this is fantastic. Reduces damage by 6%, making it incredible. But you know what we don't have? We have 0 regeneration and 0 max stats to stamina or magic. So ideally, as a Dragon Knight tank, these Nords are sturdy, incredible, but they don't have the flexibility where other classes have regeneration or max stats. Even, like I said, the Imperial has more max health, so I shy away from the Nord. But if you want something specifically for tanking, you cannot beat this Nord. They are trucks, but not really good at anything else. My favorite dance is the Imperial. Now, this thing you have to get the Imperial Edition or buy a thing in game to get access to this race, and it is one of the most powerful. Why? Well, you have a lot of health and a lot of stamina, making it one of the best for weapon-based classes. I chose to go Stam Templar. I love it on the Stam Templar. The reason why is Red Diamond. Gives your melee attacks a 10% chance to proc, giving you some health. Now, in a Stam Templar, I don't have a whole lot of healing, or some other classes don't have a whole lot of healing, but I do have biting jabs. This will proc your Red Diamond passive, giving you a small amount of health back. Combine this with the champion points, you can actually get a decent amount of health back running Rally and this in combination, making a Stamplar a good choice. Imperial is also a good flexible race, and it's due to the max health. So if you're wanting to play a stamina or magic based class, Imperial is an option for you, though I still do prefer Dummer and I've played both. But that max health allows you to put in more points into max stamina and or max magicka. So if you're lacking healing and you want a big, sturdy, tough race, look at Imperial, though I don't think it's the best at any one thing. Reason being is Redguard has 10% max stamina, Khajiit has a little more weapon critical, and regeneration. This guy doesn't have the regeneration, but it's very, very flexible, and the extra healing is amazing for the Imperial. So you see the massive wall of VR16s that I have in my personal account. Now, what do I like the best? To tell you the truth, if I had one character to play, I would play a Dumber magic-based Templar, 2 beams. He's my favorite guy. I don't know why, it's just something about him. I like the Dumber because you can go from magic to stam, whatever is clever in the latest patch, and not be that much penalized. You also have the fire resistance, which adds up really, really good. And this race gives you the flexibility. Do you want to be a magic DPS, a healer, a stamina-based tank? Just whatever you want to do, you can have it with a Dumber Templar. Now, it's not going to be the optimal choice for damage, either stamina or magic, or even tanking, but it's something in between that works and will work throughout ESO. Imperial is a great choice. Dumber, I think the racial passives matter, but it's never been a better time to pick what you like based on what you want to do. Does look matter? Does your racial history matter and you want to roleplay? Pick races that are fun and interesting. There's nothing cooler than a weird-looking Khajiit or a funny Argonian. So whether you want to be the best player or not, do your research, do your homework, because believe me, I've spent 1,000 hours on one character and you don't want to pick the wrong race. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you after the holidays for more builds and videos related to Hrothgar Orsinium.